rod heroes and speed enthusiasts. Welcome to the Racing Life, where we're jazzing up Marge, our 1962 gasser, into a bona fide blast from the past. Today's gig, a classic move in the hot rod playbook, smoothing out the Firewall. It's a neat trick that's both nifty and necessary for our time-traveling transformation.
What I'm doing is I've actually cut this opening back up. So this Firewall is not symmetrical from side to side. As it comes across, this thing was stamped in a big giant press. And as this thing goes from side to side, there's different levels, different heights, things like that. So this side comes along, it's very consistent and smooth. And then when we get over to this side over here, it's got a bump out for the windshield wipers, a bump out for the brakes, and then it's got a little doodad hole for the steering column. And it's actually set back further on this side than it is on here. This is farther forward, this bottom section is, than it is over here. So I had to kind of like just do the best I could. Also, I wanted the motor to be centered in the car. You know, a lot of guys, they offset it. We're gonna do the best we can to get this motor centered in here. And the reason why we need to do the best we have to do the best we can to get the motor centered in here. And the reason why is because, you know, honestly, it's because my exhaust, you know, it's got to be consistent as it runs down each side. You know, if we're offset, then it's going to be wonky, and I didn't like that. So we're going to center up the car. Now, in order to get the bell housing bolts out, and then the original holes that were in here to begin with, there is a variance in this opening. So I did the best I could to make this symmetrical. But as you can see, there's a bend right here, and that bend doesn't exist on this side. So I did the best I could. Also, I wanted to maintain this factory hole for the steering column because I'm going to run the factory steering column. So it's not the end of the world if I don't have it, but I'd like to maintain it. So at this point, I'm maintaining that. So what I did is I just did the best I could to get it symmetrical. So then that way, when I build the tranny tunnel, it's going to be somewhat even, and it'll be a lot easier to make. It's not perfect. This angle going up and this angle they're not the same. They intersect at the same height right here. This is the old heater box area. At least I think it wasn't. There was never anything installed in this. I'm assuming that's where the blower motor went. But so it intersects at the same point there. So it's the same height. So I can be parallel across there. This angle will be just slightly different. That intersecting point that's right there is the same on both sides. So this should be the same length, that should be the same length. They're just at slightly different angles. So that angle will be done a little different than on this one. I think I can handle that. So with that said, I'm gonna fill in this guy here, fill in all the bolt holes, fill in all of these holes. There's a ton of them. So you can see we got holes here, holes there, holes down here, holes down there, holes over there, and a lot of these holes down low are created from me removing other things. There was a lot of stuff attached to this Firewall. Believe it or not, I've already got a ton of time in this Firewall, probably 5 hours of just grinding and chipping and removing double layers, multiple layers from unibody. But a lot of those holes are from me just removing welds and stuff, doing the best I could to get the welds removed. That hole right there I'm gonna keep for now, but I'm gonna clean it all up, get rid of all this, I don't know, monkey poop, I think you call it. It's just like a caulk that they put on there. So that's where the electrical comes out. At this point, I still have the harness. I'm probably gonna end up just making a harness for it, but at this point, I need to keep all that intact, because I'm not exactly sure how that's gonna look, but I think I can utilize that hole. That hole we might end up using that area for the support strut that's going to come out here and tie into the roll cage. But for now, I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to leave it. We're going to leave I'm torn on this. I haven't made a call on it yet. And you know, honestly, the way that I got this all set up, the way I'm doing the brakes, I'm doing floor mounted brakes, and the master cylinder is going to be on the floor. I actually considered just cutting the whole Firewall up and just replacing it. And I probably should be, but I want to keep the windshield wipers. I got all the linkages. I got everything there. I want to keep the windshield wipers. I think it'd be because it's going to be more of a street car than as a drag car. And I thought it'd be a cool selling feature to say, hey, I've got a gasser that has windshield wipers. I don't know, maybe nobody gives a crap, but I'm keeping the windshield wipers just because I've always wished when my past builds, all my hot rods never had windshield wipers, and there always comes that day where you're like, dang it, I wish I had windshield wipers. So I'm keeping them. In this car, they're super simple. It won't be in the way. I don't know. Who knows? So we got to also remove all of these spot welds to get that out. That's the original support that came down and tied into the unibody to help support it. Chevy 2s had more of a tubular design, but you know, that's all they did. They just ran it back to here, and that's all they did. I've actually considered just running a pipe from out here up and just tie it into this, just weld it. I thought about that. I don't know. I might do that. This car will get a cage, and so I figured, heck, since I'm putting a cage in it, you know, I might as well utilize it. But we'll talk more about that stuff later.
Look at it. The way he's got it balanced every time he shifts, all 4 speeds, it handstands practically, and there goes Charlie Hill across.
In the golden age of gassers, every mod was a step towards drag strip glory. The Firewall, folks, is the unsung hero of the hot rod world. Back when sock hops and soda fountains were all the rage, this metal marvel was more than just a barrier. It was a canvas for creativity.
Okay, now, you know, it's a 1933 Willys. Now, move the hood up for him. This is where you really get a surprise. That does not resemble anything like a 1933 Willys, does it, George? What is this?
That is a 1963 327 Chevrolet engine, supercharged.
Okay, put it down. We'll talk about this because I think that anybody interested in racing would like to know, what does it cost to get one of these things ready to go for a championship race like this?
Well, this car has in excess of $10,000 invested in it.
As you can see, we're turning Marge's Firewall from a Swiss cheese spectacle to a smooth, sleek masterpiece. Smoothing it out isn't just about jazzing up the looks, it's about keeping the tradition alive. Every weld, every grind is a salute to the hot rod hustlers of yesteryears.
This piece, I fit it. When I drew it all out, I cut the actual line off, which gave me the clearance I need to fill in a gap. So I'll get some magnets. We'll get this set up, and it's freaking perfect. It's exactly what you want throughout, like a 16th or so gap. I don't know, but we'll get some magnets, and it'll be good. Oh, hey, look at that! I found a magnet. Boom. So basically, got the piece fitted, got everything welded up, and now I'm gonna hit her with the grinder and make her pretty. The old Widowmaker out. Make sure you got your personal protective equipment, things like that. This thing will kill you. It will kill you. We've got the Firewall done. Check it out. So with a project like this took me about 5 hours to get through. Here's the thing, is that you just got to take your time, be patient with grinding because you don't want to grind away too much metal. Make sure you're utilizing the correct tools, like for when you're grinding down the high spots, like use that little angle grinder. But the thing of it is that you just kind of keep working your way through it, and then you'll get somewhere. So stuff doesn't happen quick. So anyways, I'm happy with it, and there's still a lot of work to do.
Look at her now, folks. Marge is morphing into a true gasser goddess. Smoothing the Firewall is just one piece of the puzzle, but oh, what a crucial piece it is. It's like putting the cherry on top of your favorite milkshake.
Drag racing, a sport of speed and excitement. A test of skill and courage. A challenge to mechanical craftsmanship and ingenuity. And here is drag racing at its best.